Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Have you ever looked at the small dime sitting quietly in your pocket and wondered if it could secretly be worth a fortune? Most people never give a second thought to a Roosevelt dime because it is one of the most common coins found in circulation. People spend them every single day without even looking at the date or the mint mark. But experienced coin collectors know that every coin has a story, and sometimes that story can transform an ordinary-looking piece of metal into something collectors desperately want. Today we are taking a deep journey into the fascinating world of the 1984p Roosevelt dime, a coin that millions of Americans have handled over the years, but very few have ever examined closely. While the overwhelming majority of these coins are only worth face value, certain examples with exceptional preservation, rare mint errors, or unusual characteristics have become surprisingly valuable in the numismatic marketplace. The excitement of coin collecting comes from knowing that hidden treasures can still be discovered where nobody expects them. The Roosevelt dime has one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage history. Every year, billions of these small silver-colored coins pass from one person to another. They buy cups of coffee, disappear into vending machines, and rest unnoticed inside jars, drawers, purses, and piggy banks. Yet every single coin carries with it a unique history of the year it was made, the technology used to strike it, the people who designed it, and the countless hands that have carried it through decades of American life. The 1984p dime is no exception. Although it was produced in enormous numbers, understanding why it exists and what makes some examples desirable opens the door to an entirely different way of looking at pocket change. To appreciate this coin, it helps to travel back in time. The year was 1984. America was experiencing rapid technological growth. Personal computers were becoming more common, the economy was changing, and many important historical events were shaping the future of the country. During that same year, the United States Mint continued producing millions of coins needed for everyday commerce. Among them was the Roosevelt dime bearing the Philadelphia Mint mark, represented by the letter P. This was an important period because only a few years earlier, Philadelphia dimes had started displaying the P. Mint mark, something that had not been common throughout much of American coinage history. For decades, Philadelphia coins often carried no mint mark at all. Beginning in 1980, however, the Philadelphia Mint started placing the P on dimes, making the mint origin immediately recognizable. The small letter P, located just above the date on the obverse side, tells collectors exactly where the coin was manufactured. Philadelphia has been the heart of American coin production since the United States Mint began operations in the 18th century. Generations of skilled workers have produced billions upon billions of coins there, each one requiring remarkable precision. Even though the process is highly automated, every die, every blank planchet, every striking machine, and every quality inspection contributes to the finished product that eventually reaches the public. The 1984p Roosevelt dime weighs approximately 2.268 grams. That tiny weight might seem insignificant, but for collectors it is one of the most important specifications. Any noticeable difference from the standard weight can immediately suggest that something unusual happened during production. Sometimes an incorrect metal planchet is accidentally fed into the presses. Occasionally a manufacturing error affects the final weight. Because of this, experienced collectors often carry highly accurate digital scales capable of measuring tiny fractions of a gram. A coin weighing significantly outside the normal tolerance could deserve much closer examination. The composition of the 1984p dime also tells an interesting story about American coinage. Earlier Roosevelt dimes minted before 1965 contained 90% silver, making them valuable simply because of their precious metal content. Rising silver prices during the 1960s forced the United States Mint to switch to a more economical composition. By 1984, The dime consisted of an outer layer made from a copper-nickel alloy bonded over a pure copper core. This combination provided durability, while keeping production costs manageable. If you examine the edge of a normal 1984p dime carefully, you can actually see the distinctive reddish copper stripe sandwiched between the outer nickel-colored layers. That copper line instantly distinguishes modern clad dimes from their older silver counterparts. Although millions of people recognize the portrait on the front of the dime, many know very little about the man it represents. Franklin Delano Roosevelt served as the 32nd President of the United States and guided the nation through two of the most difficult periods in its history, the Great Depression and World War II. His leadership left an enormous impact on the country, and after his passing in 1945, there was widespread public support for honoring him on American coinage. Roosevelt also had a personal connection to the fight against polio. His efforts inspired the March of Dimes campaign, an organization dedicated to raising funds for medical research and treatment. Because of that connection, placing Roosevelt on the dime became a meaningful tribute rather than simply another portrait on another coin. The artist responsible for the Roosevelt dime design was Chief Engraver John R. Sinek. His portrait captures Roosevelt facing left with a calm and determined expression. Around the portrait appear the familiar inscriptions including Liberty, the national motto, In God We Trust, the date, and the Philadelphia Mint mark. While many people glance at these details without thinking twice, collectors often spend hours studying even the smallest elements. The spacing between letters, the sharpness of Roosevelt's hair, the contours of the face, and the strength of the strike all influence a coin's appeal and value. Turning the coin over reveals another carefully designed composition. The reverse features a torch at the center, symbolizing liberty. On one side of the torch is an olive branch representing peace, while on the other side is an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence. These three symbols together communicate ideals that have long been associated with the United States. Around the design are the inscriptions, United States of America, 1 dime, and E pluribus unum. Every line, every leaf, and every flame was engraved with remarkable precision, so that even a coin intended for everyday commerce could also serve as a miniature work of art. Most people never notice how much engineering goes into producing a single dime. Before a coin is struck, large coils of metal are rolled into the proper thickness. Circular blanks are punched from those metal strips. These blanks are softened through heat treatment, cleaned, polished, and passed through upsetting mills that create slightly raised rims. Only after all these steps are completed do the planchets reach the coin presses, where immense pressure forces the metal into every tiny recess of the engraved dies. The result is a detailed image appearing almost instantly, yet representing countless hours of preparation and sophisticated manufacturing technology. Because the production process involves so many mechanical steps, occasional mistakes are inevitable. Those mistakes create some of the most exciting discoveries in coin collecting. An off-center strike can occur when the blank is not perfectly aligned beneath the dies. A clipped planchet may result if the blank is punched from the edge of the metal strip. Double strikes happen when a coin receives more than one impression. Die cracks, die chips, broad strikes, rotated dies, and other mint errors all originate from different stages of production. Although most 1984p dimes are perfectly ordinary, error examples are far scarcer and often attract considerable attention whenever they appear on the market. Collectors spend years learning how to distinguish genuine mint errors from ordinary damage that occurred after a coin entered circulation. This difference is extremely important. A scratch caused by decades inside a pocket usually adds no value. A true manufacturing error created inside the United States Mint, however, can dramatically increase collector interest. Learning to recognize the characteristics of authentic mint errors requires patience, careful observation, and familiarity with the minting process itself. Condition is another factor that completely transforms the value of any coin. Two 1984p dimes struck on the same day could have vastly different values decades later simply because one remained protected while the other circulated heavily. Coins are graded on a scale ranging from poor to mint state. At the lower end of the scale, heavy wear may obscure much of the original design. At the highest levels, tiny details remain sharp, original mint luster still shines across the surfaces, and virtually no signs of handling are visible. The difference in market value between a heavily worn coin and a superb gem quality example can be astonishing. Professional grading services have helped standardize the evaluation of coins. These organizations examine authenticity, preservation, strike quality, surface condition, and eye appeal before assigning numerical grades. Collectors often pay significant premiums for coins certified in exceptionally high mint state grades, because such examples become increasingly difficult to locate. Even among coins produced in the millions, finding one that survived decades without noticeable imperfections can be remarkably challenging. Another fascinating characteristic that advanced collectors study is the quality of the strike itself. Every coin begins life under tremendous pressure, but not every strike transfers the design with equal sharpness. Small variations in die wear, striking pressure, and machine alignment can produce noticeable differences. Some 1984p dimes display crisp details throughout Roosevelt's hair and the torch on the reverse, while others exhibit softer features. Strongly struck examples generally command greater collector interest, especially when combined with outstanding preservation. Luster is equally important. Freshly struck coins exhibit a distinctive cartwheel effect when tilted beneath a light source. This shimmering appearance results from microscopic flow lines created as metal moves under striking pressure. As coins circulate, that original luster gradually disappears due to friction and handling. A 1984p dime retaining brilliant original mint luster decades after production immediately attracts experienced collectors because it suggests exceptionally careful preservation. Many beginning collectors mistakenly believe rarity alone determines value. In reality, demand plays an equally important role. Even if millions of 1984p dimes were produced, collectors continuously seek the finest known examples, attractive mint errors, and certified high-grade pieces. When many collectors compete for relatively few exceptional coins, prices naturally increase. Understanding this relationship between rarity, condition, demand, and historical significance is one of the most rewarding aspects of numismatics. As you continue exploring your own collection or searching through pocket change, remember that every coin deserves a careful look before being dismissed. If you have ever wondered why one coin sells for 10 cents while another coin from the exact same year can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, the answer usually comes down to a combination of rarity, preservation, demand, and unique characteristics. This is exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. The 1984p Roosevelt dime may appear ordinary at first glance, but experienced collectors know that every coin deserves a closer inspection before reaching any conclusion. Hidden among millions of common examples are a very small number of coins that stand out because of exceptional quality, fascinating mint errors, or unusual circumstances that occurred during production. Imagine opening an old jar of coins that has been sitting untouched for decades. Inside are hundreds of dimes collected over many years. Most people would simply count them and exchange them for paper money. A collector, however, sees something entirely different. Every date is checked carefully. Every mint mark is examined under magnification. The surfaces are inspected under bright lighting. The edges are observed for unusual features. The weight is measured with a precise digital scale. What appears to be an ordinary collection of spare change suddenly becomes a treasure hunt filled with possibilities. The first thing experienced collectors evaluate is overall preservation. Coins begin losing value the moment they enter circulation because every transaction causes tiny amounts of wear. Sliding across counters, rubbing against other coins, falling onto hard surfaces, and spending years inside pockets all gradually remove the fine details originally created by the minting press. Roosevelt's hair becomes smoother. The lettering loses sharpness. The torch on the reverse begins to flatten. Small scratches and contact marks appear everywhere. This natural wear is expected, which is why genuinely high-grade examples become increasingly difficult to locate as decades pass. Some people mistakenly believe that simply finding an old coin automatically means they have discovered something valuable. Age alone rarely determines value. There are coins more than 100 years old worth only a few dollars because millions survived. Meanwhile, certain modern coins only a few decades old can sell for surprisingly high prices if they possess unusual characteristics or survive in extraordinary condition. The 1984 p dime illustrates this perfectly. Most examples remain common, yet exceptionally preserved specimens continue attracting attention from collectors competing for the finest known pieces. Professional grading has transformed modern coin collecting. Instead of relying solely on personal opinions, collectors often submit important coins to independent grading companies. Specialists examine every surface under magnification, verify authenticity, evaluate preservation, and assign a numerical grade ranging from 1 to 70. A grade of mint state 60 indicates an uncirculated coin with noticeable imperfections, while mint state 65, 66, 67, or higher represents increasingly exceptional preservation. The difference between these grades may seem tiny to beginners, but collectors recognize that each point represents significantly greater rarity. One fascinating aspect of grading involves something called eye appeal. Two coins can receive nearly identical technical grades, while attracting completely different levels of collector interest. One may possess beautiful original luster, attractive natural toning, and sharply struck details. Another may have dull surfaces, distracting spots, or unattractive discoloration despite technically meeting the same grading standards. Because collecting is also an appreciation of beauty, visually appealing coins often command stronger prices whenever they appear for sale. Original mint luster deserves special attention because it tells an important story about a coin's history. Freshly struck coins reflect light in a distinctive rotating pattern sometimes called the cartwheel effect. This shimmering appearance results from microscopic metal flow during striking. Once a coin begins circulating, those delicate surface lines gradually wear away. Preserving original luster for decades requires extraordinary care. Coins stored properly in protective holders immediately after leaving circulation have a much better chance of retaining that beautiful brilliance than coins tossed into drawers with loose change. Storage plays an enormous role in long-term preservation. Humidity, temperature fluctuations, fingerprints, cleaning attempts, and environmental contamination can permanently damage a coin. Many valuable coins have lost significant value simply because well-meaning owners tried polishing them to make them shine. Professional collectors strongly discourage cleaning because even the softest cloth can create countless microscopic scratches across the surface. These hairline marks immediately reduce collector appeal and often become obvious under magnification. One of the greatest mistakes beginners make is assuming shiny always means valuable. An aggressively cleaned coin may appear brighter than an untouched example, yet experienced collectors usually prefer natural surfaces showing original texture and authentic mint luster. Artificial polishing removes part of the coin's history and permanently alters its appearance. This is why experts often recommend leaving coins exactly as they are until properly evaluated. Now consider the incredible precision required to manufacture billions of dimes every year. Every die must transfer countless tiny details perfectly. Every planchet must possess the correct dimensions and composition. Every striking press must apply tremendous pressure consistently. Despite sophisticated machinery, mechanical equipment occasionally develops problems, and those problems sometimes create fascinating mint errors that become prized collectibles. One well-known category involves die cracks. As steel dies strike millions of planchets, enormous stress gradually weakens the metal. Tiny fractures eventually appear across the die surface. These cracks transfer onto every coin struck afterward, creating raised lines in various locations. Small die cracks may have only modest collector interest, while dramatic examples extending across major portions of the design often attract considerably more attention. Another interesting variety involves die chips. When small fragments break away from the die, metal flows into the missing area during striking, producing raised blobs on finished coins. Depending upon size and location, these features sometimes receive colorful nicknames from collectors. Although not every die chip carries substantial value, unusual examples continue fascinating specialists who study die deterioration patterns. Off-center strikes represent one of the easiest mint errors for beginners to recognize. Instead of receiving a perfectly centered design, the coin displays part of the image missing because the planchet shifted before being struck. The amount of off-centering greatly influences desirability. Slight misalignments may add only modest premiums, while dramatic off-center strikes retaining a visible date often become highly collectible because they clearly demonstrate the minting mistake. Broad strikes provide another fascinating glimpse into the minting process. Normally, a retaining collar surrounds each planchet during striking, giving the coin its proper diameter and reeded edge. If the collar fails to function correctly, the metal spreads outward under pressure, creating a coin larger than normal with distorted edges. Collectors appreciate broad strikes because they reveal how important each component of the coining press truly is. Double strikes create some of the most visually dramatic errors. Instead of leaving the press after one impression, the coin receives a second strike, often slightly offset from the first. This produces overlapping designs that immediately capture attention. Depending upon alignment, clarity, and overall appearance, genuine double-struck coins may become highlights within specialized collections. Clipped planchets occur before striking even begins. During blank production, circular punches remove planchets from long strips of metal. Occasionally, the punch overlaps a previously removed blank or reaches the edge of the strip, leaving a curved section missing from the finished planchet. When struck, these incomplete blanks produce unmistakable clipped coins that remain popular among error collectors. Perhaps one of the most exciting discoveries involves wrong planchet errors. Every denomination uses planchets with specific size, weight, and composition. On rare occasions, a blank intended for another denomination accidentally enters the wrong production line. When struck with dime dies, the resulting coin immediately becomes an extraordinary mint error. Such mistakes are genuinely scarce because quality control procedures normally prevent them from leaving the mint. Collectors also pay attention to rotational errors. After striking, the relationship between the obverse and reverse should remain perfectly aligned according to mint standards. If one side rotates significantly relative to the other, the coin becomes another unusual collectible. Measuring rotation requires carefully holding the coin upright before flipping it vertically to examine reverse alignment. Even tiny details such as the strength of the reeded edge deserve examination. Missing reeds, weak reeds, or irregular edge characteristics sometimes point toward production abnormalities. Although many edge imperfections result from post-mint damage, genuine mint-created examples remain important areas of study within error collecting. Technology has dramatically improved the way collectors examine coins. High-powered digital microscopes now reveal details impossible to appreciate with the naked eye. Under magnification, Dyed polish lines, microscopic cracks, strike quality, and surface preservation become much easier to evaluate. Many collectors photograph their coins at high resolution before comparing them with known varieties documented by specialists. Auction records provide another fascinating aspect of numismatics. Whenever an exceptionally preserved modern coin appears at auction, collectors watch closely. Competitive bidding sometimes pushes prices far beyond expectations, because registry set participants constantly seek the highest graded examples available. Registry collecting encourages enthusiasts to assemble complete date and mint collections using certified coins, and competition for top rankings increases demand for the finest surviving specimens. Patience remains one of the most valuable skills any collector can develop. Valuable discoveries rarely happen overnight. Experienced collectors spend years searching through rolls obtained from banks, estate collections, flea markets, antique shops, and inherited accumulations of coins. Thousands of ordinary coins may pass through their hands before something truly remarkable appears. Yet, that possibility is exactly what keeps the hobby exciting generation after generation. Every coin tells two stories. One is the official history recorded by the United States Mint. The other is the journey each individual coin experiences after entering circulation. Some travel across the country through countless transactions. Others remain forgotten inside dresser drawers for decades. A few survive untouched inside original mint sets, preserving nearly flawless surfaces that collectors admire many years later. The unknown path traveled by each coin adds another layer of fascination impossible to duplicate. As more people become interested in numismatics, educational resources continue expanding. Books, auction archives, grading guides, online forums, and collector organizations allow beginners to learn directly from experienced specialists. Understanding how to identify genuine mint errors, recognize original surfaces, interpret grading standards, and appreciate historical context transforms ordinary pocket change into objects filled with historical significance and collecting potential. The remarkable thing about the 1984 P. Roosevelt dime is that it reminds us valuable discoveries often begin with simple curiosity. A coin that millions overlook every single day can inspire someone to learn about American history, metallurgy, engraving, manufacturing, economics, and collecting all at once. That tiny piece of metal becomes much more than 10 cents. It becomes a connection to the people who designed it, the workers who produced it, the businesses that used it, and the collectors who continue searching for the very best examples more than 4 decades after it first entered circulation. The deeper you explore the world of coin collecting, the more you begin to understand that every coin has the potential to teach something new. The 1984 P. Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how a coin that appears ordinary can become fascinating once you understand its history, its production, and the qualities that collectors search for. Millions of these dimes were struck at the Philadelphia Mint during 1984, and the vast majority entered circulation immediately, spending years moving from one wallet to another, from cash registers to vending machines, from banks to piggy banks, and eventually into jars and collections all across the United States. While most remain worth only their face value of 10 cents, a small number have attracted collector interest because of exceptional preservation or genuine mint errors. One of the most important lessons every collector learns is never to judge a coin by its appearance alone. A worn coin may simply be worth 10 cents, while another coin from the same year, looking only slightly different, could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars because of its condition or a verified mint error. This is why experienced collectors inspect every detail carefully before making any assumptions. When examining a 1984 P. Roosevelt dime, begin with the date and the mint mark. Confirm that the coin shows the year 1984 and the P. mint mark located beside the date. Next, examine the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Look closely at the hair, forehead, cheek, jawline, and the lettering around the edge. Strong, crisp details usually indicate less wear than soft or flattened features. Turn the coin over and carefully inspect the torch, the olive branch, and the oak branch. On sharply struck examples, the lines within the torch should remain clear, and the leaves should display strong definition. Coins that still retain their original mint luster often stand out immediately under proper lighting because the surfaces reflect light in a rotating cartwheel pattern. The edge of the coin should also be inspected carefully. Modern Roosevelt dimes contain a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper nickel, making a thin copper-colored stripe visible along the edge. While this is perfectly normal, any unusual edge characteristics, missing wreaths, or striking abnormalities deserve closer examination. Collectors also recommend weighing every coin that appears unusual. A standard 1984p dime weighs approximately 2.268 grams. A significant difference from that weight could suggest damage, excessive wear, or in very rare cases, an incorrect planchet error. Using a digital scale capable of measuring to 1/100th of a gram is an inexpensive tool that many serious collectors consider essential. Magnification is equally important. A simple 10x jeweler's loupe allows collectors to detect doubled lettering, die cracks, die chips, clash marks, polishing lines, and many other features invisible to the naked eye. Modern digital microscopes provide even greater detail and have become increasingly popular among hobbyists. As you continue learning, you'll notice that experienced collectors rarely become excited simply because someone claims a coin is valuable. Instead, they ask important questions. Is the coin authentic? Has it been cleaned? Is the error genuine? What is its certified grade? Has a similar example sold at auction? Is there documented demand among collectors? These questions separate careful research from unrealistic claims. The internet has made coin collecting more accessible than ever before, but it has also created confusion. Videos, social media posts, and online listings sometimes advertise common coins with unrealistic asking prices. Seeing a coin listed for thousands or even millions of dollars does not mean it actually sold for that amount. Serious collectors rely on completed auction results, certified examples, and trusted price guides rather than unsupported listings. For the 1984p Roosevelt dime, the current market generally looks like this. Most circulated examples are worth about 10 cents. Attractive uncirculated coins often sell for a few dollars. Certified high-grade mint state examples can bring significantly higher prices depending on their grade and demand. Genuine mint error coins may sell for anywhere from tens to hundreds, and in some cases thousands of dollars, depending on the rarity and severity of the error. This is one of the reasons the hobby remains so exciting. Every coin has to be evaluated individually. Two coins from the same roll can have completely different values based on strike quality, preservation, eye appeal, certification, and any unusual mint characteristics. Another important habit among successful collectors is proper storage. Coins should never be cleaned with chemicals, toothpaste, baking soda, cloths, or polishing compounds. Cleaning permanently damages the original surface and often reduces collector value dramatically. Instead, valuable coins should be stored in archival quality holders, coin flips, capsules, or albums designed specifically for long-term preservation. Temperature and humidity also affect coins over time. Dry storage away from moisture helps preserve original surfaces. Fingerprints should be avoided because natural oils from skin can leave permanent marks. When handling valuable coins, many collectors hold them only by the edges. Some collectors enjoy searching through bank rolls. Others purchase mint sets, estate collections, or inherited accumulations. Many spend weekends visiting coin shows, where hundreds of dealers display coins from every era of American history. Every method offers the possibility of discovering something unexpected. Perhaps the greatest reward of coin collecting isn't financial at all. It is the excitement of learning history through objects that people used every day. A Roosevelt dime connects us with the presidency of Franklin Roosevelt, the history of the March of Dimes, the evolution of United States coinage, advances in minting technology, and decades of American commerce. Few hobbies combine history, art, economics, metallurgy, engineering, and treasure hunting in quite the same way. Every collector remembers the first time they found a coin that made their heart race. Sometimes it was an old silver coin. Sometimes it was an unusual error. Sometimes it was simply a beautifully preserved example hiding in ordinary change. Those moments create lifelong memories and inspire people to continue searching. The next valuable coin could still be sitting inside a forgotten coin jar, a family piggy bank, an inherited collection, a cash register, or even the change you receive after buying a cup of coffee. That possibility is what keeps millions of collectors checking every coin they encounter. So before you spend your next dime, take a few extra seconds to look at it carefully. Read the date. Find the mint mark. Examine the design. Study the edge. Look for unusual details. Compare it with other coins. You may discover nothing unusual, or you might uncover a piece that deserves a much closer look. Coin collecting teaches patience, observation, and curiosity. It reminds us that extraordinary discoveries often begin with ordinary objects. A tiny 10-cent coin may never make you a millionaire, but it can introduce you to an incredible hobby that has fascinated generations of collectors around the world. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1984 Roosevelt dime, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next coin collecting adventure. We regularly explore rare pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, dollar coins, mint errors, valuable varieties, and real auction discoveries that every collector should know about. And remember, the next time someone hands you a handful of change, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look, because the next remarkable discovery could already be sitting in the palm of your hand.